Hey everyone, welcome to Abstract Boss. So today I want to show you guys how you can get precise lines with gold leaf. Now there is one and only one product that I have found that works for this. If you have found another, I would love to hear in the comments below, but this is the best, most perfect product that you could possibly use. So check it out on my Amazon store, which is in the description below as well. But it is Mona Lisa adhesive size. All right, I actually have it right here. Ugh. Okay, Mona Lisa adhesive size. And then I get the sealer for afterwards. Now, if you are not using the adhesive size, it will not work the same, and I'll explain why throughout the video, but definitely don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Let me know what you think, and let's get to it. So I start off by pouring a little bit of the adhesive size into just a small cup, and I grab a tipped paintbrush. Now this does not work the same or as effectively if you are using a flat edged paintbrush, okay? So grab a very small pointy paintbrush, and this is just one of those cheap ones that I got from Walmart, and it's very similar to like calligraphy or the fancy hand lettering. If you are pushing extremely heavy, you're going to get a fat line. If you are pushing very lightly, then you're going to get a nice thin line. So what I'm doing right now is I am allowing it to play in real time, so that way you guys can see how slow I do this. I don't actually rush through the whole thing. I do it extremely slowly, and then I keep making sure that I'm making small dashes as I pull my paintbrush down. For me, it's easier to pull the paintbrush down than it is to go up. So the majority of my strokes, you'll see I'm going down and around. But if it is easier for you, I used to say when I taught paint classes to go and make sure that you're figuring out your own art hand. So if it's easier for you to go up than it is to go down as you're painting, then go ahead and do that. You do not have to do it exactly like I do. Now, the other thing that is extremely important, no matter what canvas or wood or anything that you are working on, you have to have your hand on something. Okay, so brace your hand on the wood, brace your hand on the table, something that is the same level though. I found to be the most effective is if you could put it on the same level as your workspace. If you're putting your hand on the table and then you're trying to draw on something that's an inch higher, it's kind of difficult, but if you can brace it, that's perfect. I'll probably do a video eventually showing you guys how to build a brace whenever you're working on really large canvases and you can't set your hand on wet paint or something like that. Basically, you just put a 2x4 over top with some blocks so that way you can still brace your hand on something, because trying to just free hand and not having your hand braced down is going to be extremely shaky. So I know that was a little lengthy, but extremely important. Now you guys can see I'm not even done with the O, and we're 4 minutes in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed through the rest of the lettering and get to the next part. Side note here, I dropped a couple drops of the size as I was pulling it over onto my letters, but that's no big deal because you can clean that up. Just don't worry about it right now. I prefer to clean it up after everything once I've done my leafing, just because it makes it a little bit easier. So basically, just don't worry. I was going to try to add an extra drop and make it fancy, but the drops were not drying, so I didn't really care at that point. And so here's the hardest part. You have to wait for all of that to dry. So you can see here in this next part that it looks like there was never any adhesive size on there at all. You can see the black marker. It is transparent. You can't tell. That's what you want. It becomes tacky. That's why the adhesive size is so perfect. It becomes perfectly tacky to where you're not going to be running around. You know, the glue's not going to be running. It's not going to be messy. It's not going to dry hard. So that's why the adhesive size is so amazing. Now, what I do is I do put on some gloves because it makes handling the leafing way easier, okay? So this is actually, it's hard to see in this video. It looks actual gold in this video, but it's rose gold that I'm using. Or at least I thought I did. I'll have to check now. But what you're doing is you're just setting sheets over all of the places that you had the adhesive size. Now, if you notice the white dots, like I said, I was not waiting for those to dry because there's something that I'm going to clean up later. So just keep setting those sheets over top of all of your letters and make sure the entire surface is covered. I just use my gloves to pat it down gently. And make sure you're doing that just so it makes contact. Oh my gosh, I'm tongue-tied now. Makes contact with everything that you have done the adhesive size with. Now, I'm going to tell you, I probably waited about, I want to say, an hour before all of this was dry. Okay, so yeah, don't worry. The size will still be tacky after an hour. At least it was for me. If you're doing it on an absorbent surface like wood, you're not going to have as much luck. But this is on top of resin. I've already done one layer of resin on this. So it was not on any type of absorbent surface. Now I'm taking, I don't have to wait any longer. It's already, you know, the tackiness, the leafing is on, and now I'm taking the brush and I'm just slowly pulling it across, trying to find where my lettering is, so that way I can kind of take the brush at different angles, side to side. Now, since I waited so long for it to be dry and tacky, it's really not going to have too many issues. If you're wanting to do precision things in paintings and stuff like that, this is the perfect method to do it. Every single bit of this turned out amazing, except for those dots, of course, because I didn't wait for them to dry. So let me speed you guys through this next part and we can see the finished product. Stay tuned though, afterwards I'll show you what I do, how I do my rough edging on these animal pieces. If that's something that interests you, make sure you stay tuned after the teachings of this part. All right, so now what I'm doing is I'm using my glove to scratch away the dots. If it doesn't go all the way, you can go ahead and put some alcohol on a towel or something rather like that to get the rest of that alcohol ink off. It works perfectly. Just make sure you're not scratching away what you just did and ruining your beautiful artwork. That would not be cool. Yeah, it's really easy. Just be careful. Look at that masterpiece. I love it. It's so beautiful. The lines are so pretty. But again, you guys, this took me a really long time just to do 4 little letters. Now, the biggest thing that I want to tell you guys, those dots that you've seen, the dips, the pivots, whatever you want to call them, cat eyes, fish eyes, those are because my first layer was not primed more than once, and I should have, and so the wood was absorbing my resin, and so that's just my fault, and that's why the second layer is going to make it nice and flat over top of this leafing. I wasn't worried about perfection since I knew I was going to do some gold leafing on it, and so just know that that's not the way that this product turns out, and I'll make sure to show you guys on Instagram, so be sure to follow there, because I want to get this video out for everyone to be able to utilize this and add this into their projects. Here is the special edition for those that wanted to stay tuned after those credits. Now, again, as a reminder, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you have not already. I love to test everything out and try new stuff, and I have found it to be very helpful for everyone, so hopefully you guys find it to be helpful as well. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm just taking that same paintbrush that I used on the letters, and I'm just sort of poking it at the resin, and I'm just making a bunch of I don't know, spikes, I guess, coming in from the side. Now, with this particular one, some of it does dry, but some of it doesn't, and I'm okay with putting the leafing on top of the wet adhesive size. You can use other glues for this one. I had someone ask if you can use Mod Podge. You could. The issue though is Mod Podge, I'm not certain, because I haven't used it before as like a final product. I've tested it out and it works, but I personally would just rather use the adhesive size because I know what I'm getting with that one. So with Mod Podge, as long as it's drying for you and you're not having issues and you wait to do the resin until it's 1000% dry, then I don't see any problem with it because the resin's gonna set over top of it and keep it all in anyways, so I don't see an issue. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna speed you guys through this step. It's very easy, just stabbing at the edges, and then I'll show you how I'm adding the gold leaf on top of that. All right, the gold leafing part is ridiculously easy. I kid you not. You just throw gold leaf on here. Doesn't matter if they're perfect sheets, doesn't matter if they're extra little slices that fell off from earlier. Just throw them on everywhere that you had your adhesive size. And then now that that is done, what you're gonna do, same thing with the brush. You just take it and you brush it side to side. Now, if you're not waiting for the adhesive size to dry, you're gonna notice a lot of the leafing sticking to your brush. You can actually notice that on mine because I don't really wait on this step. The reason I don't like to wait is because I want it to be as rough as possible. I'm not going for smooth lines here. So if that's good with y'all, then that's what you should be doing. If you want it to be perfect, again, let it dry. You should not be seeing any white whatsoever once it is dry. And this very last step is the sealer that I showed you all at the beginning of the video. You must put the sealer over everything that is leafed. I cannot stress this enough. I did a couple projects where I did not, and each time when I put the resin on top of it, it picked up some of the leafing somewhere and pulled it into my resin, or it floated up afterwards and it cured in my resin in a spot that I did not want it to be in. Y'all, it is a hot freaking mess, okay? So use the sealer. It is so important. I honestly, I could not live without these two together. I refuse to use anything else because they work so well together. Please, y'all, do not use subpar materials when you're doing stuff for sale for other people. You don't want them to come back to you and complain because something happened because you used subpar materials. So use the best because you know it's the best and you are getting paid for it. So if you're not getting paid for it and you're just doing it for fun, I mean, that's a whole different thing. Y'all can do whatever the heck you want because, I mean, it's yours. So that's it. If you guys enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Share it would be amazing. And subscribe. And I will see you guys next time. Have a great day, everyone.